Three ways to break the barrier from being middle class to higher class.
Get rid of your limiting beliefs. We have been programmed. पैसे के झाड़ पे उगते हैं.
The gold is going up and down consistently. How much does financial market and the power of business is affected by that?
They're always connected. It's part of a bigger, you can call it an economic chess game, right? These are moves by the big players, the big money.
Who has taken Twitter by the storm, right? I'm talking about Elon Musk, Prime Minister Modi, and Donald Trump. What would you say their role is in the volatility in financial market?
I call them players because they are not really the game. They are basically moves within the game. What they check is the pulse of what people want.
Is being middle class scam in India?
#1 manifestation and lifestyle podcast.
Do you believe in manifestation?
एक जिद सी आ गई थी कि सब कुछ मुझे चाहिए या फिर कुछ नहीं चाहिए. You will win. थोड़ा वक्त लग सकता है लेकिन सक्सेस इज गारंटेड.
Do I believe in manifestation? No. If I really want something that badly, I'll just ask for it.
I तो manifested my partner. तो I feel कि अगर मेरा self love नहीं होता तो मेरा relationship जो है exist भी नहीं करता.
हम हर चीज सोचते कि भाई मेरे को ये मिल जाएगी, ये मिलना चाहिए, ये मिलने वाली, लेकिन कुछ भी नहीं होता है, कुछ मिलता नहीं. परवरदिगार तूने जो हमारे लिए सोचा था वो तो सही था, वो तूने दिया.
I feel as an artist तो बहुत ज्यादा recommend करता हूँ. Artist को तो बहुत जरूरत है because I feel everything as an artist is about the zone.
When I do practice, I have found myself go to a realm which is very beautiful, very peaceful.
मुझे नहीं पता मैं ये मैनिफेस्ट कर रही हूँ कि मेरे साथ सब सही हो जाएगा, कि हम सही सोच रहे हैं, तो मैं इस डर के साथ नहीं जा रही हूँ कि अब मेरे साथ क्या हो जाएगा, अब मेरा क्या.
कबीर वानी, कबीर वानी, कबीर वानी,
Kabir Vani.
कबीर वानी, कबीर वानी.
Amazing people like Kabir Vani. Welcome to Kabir Vani.
Siddharth, welcome back to Kabir Vani.
Thank you.
आज का जो क्वेश्चन मैं चालू कर रहा हूँ is being middle class scam in India?
So I wouldn't call it being a scam. What I feel is there is less knowledge when it comes to managing your wealth, paying less amount of taxes, saving on taxes rather, which the middle class and even the lower class generally lack. Now, when it comes to the lower class, they don't have the kind of income to begin with to worry about taxes, right? They don't usually pay, or rather have to pay tax. Middle class people are usually doing jobs. They don't have the choice when it comes to taxes because mostly they get their salary in hand already deducted of the taxes that they owe, right? And also they cannot show many expenses. Okay, there are only a few finite heads under which they can claim expenses. Now, the wealthy class has a generational knowledge passed down to them on how to save taxes legally. Okay, we feel that the big names Ambani, Adani, we might feel that they evade taxes. They don't evade taxes. They save on taxes legally, right? I'll give you an example. People like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, mostly these ultra wealthy people, they don't have much of their wealth in liquid, right? They have it mostly solidified in stocks or other investments. Now, what they do is in order to generate liquidity for their own expenses, they take loans against their investments which they have, against the stocks. Now, what happens is the loans are not taxed because they are loans, right? And repayment of those loans are also an expense. So, the loan interest, let's say in the US, for them on such a huge quantum, where you can negotiate the interest rate, it's very low.
Yeah. Plus, I think when you're taking loan against your investment, naturally the interest rate is low.
Absolutely.
May it be India or America.
Yes, because it's 100% secured. Right? Banks are happy to lend out that money. And the repayment interest is low as compared to the tax that they would have to pay otherwise. Right? So these people are not liquid. They live on loans, but they are guaranteed by their investments. So they don't sell their stocks. The stocks themselves appreciate also. So they are making money there as well as they are saving on a lot of tax. Right? This knowledge is not present or this awareness is not within the middle class community. And that is why it might feel like, they are facing the brunt, but there is a way out, of course.
So Siddharth, 3 ways to break the barrier from being middle class to higher class.
Well, the first one would be definitely for me is uh, get rid of your limiting beliefs, right? Middle class people always have this belief that they cannot make the kind of money that the ultra rich have. We have been programmed, right? Paise ke jhaad pe ugte hai kya? That's one of the things, and these subtle things actually catch on and they remain with us for our lives. So first step would be to absolutely believe that you can do it. The next step would be to take calculated risks. Risks are not all bad. Okay, risk equals reward, but calculated risks is the important keyword here. And the third one, of course, is to spend money not to show but to grow.
Beautifully said. I think most of the time when where we are making money or we are spending or investing money, it's always about to show off. Oh, I need that iPhone. Oh, I need that car. Or let me rephrase that. It's not about the need, it's about the want. I want that iPhone. I want that car.
So there is a saying: don't go broke trying to show that you're rich.
It's about being rich, not looking rich.
Correct.
That's what it is, right?
Exactly. Even Warren Buffett, even now, uses a black and white phone.
Yeah, and still drives a Toyota, lives in a 3
Absolutely,
BHK
absolutely.
house. I understand. I completely do. You explained very beautifully about taking calculated risk. Now, if I have to ask you, what does that actually mean?
So anything that you do in life carries a certain amount of risk. Are you prepared for if that thing goes wrong? Let's say you're starting a business, there is a risk, right? But have you thought of an exit plan? And before that, have you actually studied the market, done your research so that you know what you're getting into, right? Preparedness will nullify the risk to a major extent, and your exit plan will take care of the rest. So if I am going to open a shop, I must know the market, I must know what I'm selling, I must know the customers around me, how I plan to get those customers. And if I'm not able to sustain, can I break even? And if not, do I have a little bit of saving that will take care of that so that I can safely exit without hurting my day to day? That is calculated risks. Now, to elaborate more on that, I just thought of this because a lot of the youth in our country, they go after innovative ideas. मुझे अगर startup खोलना है तो it should be different. Yeah, I should be able to think of something that nobody has thought about. Well, that's one way to go about it, the innovation route. But there is something called boring money.
Okay, boring money.
Boring money, right? Boring money is opening up a food stall.
Okay.
Right? Boring idea. There's not much innovation to it. You are selling the same thing that a person maybe 3 blocks down the lane is doing the same thing, right? So it's not very innovative. You can add a little bit of innovation here and there, but it's very boring. If you have the kind of money, taking on a franchisee of, let's say, a Starbucks, or maybe one example I read was a petrol pump, right? Boring. Petrol pump coupled with a car wash, something like that, but that's the kind of money which banks are eager to lend because they understand the business. It's easy, it's sustainable, they know it's predictable. So you can actually get loans without much collateral from banks if you are into a boring business rather than an innovative, high risk business.
Okay.
Right? One of my friends actually did that. He opened up a small shop of selling shawarma, right? Food, very boring, just different kinds of shawarmas, ekdam boring, alag sauces, that's it. That's the only variation. But now his retired parents manage the shop while he practices as a lawyer, right? Middle class, but now earning quite well from the shop, right? That's kind of like a semi-passive income. They just have to sit at the shop, and this is how boring money is something that is an amazing thing, actually.
Siddharth, give me 3 boring business ideas.
All right. So really boring businesses that give you boring money. which get funded also very easily by banks. Uh, One would be housekeeping services, right? Very boring. A lot of people need it. Offices, commercial premises. That's one good idea that you can invest in. It You would probably get it under 3 to 5 lakhs of investment. Another one in the similar range would be pest control, right? Again, very boring, steady money. People need it. Demand is always there. Um, and my favorite is a laundry, right? People need it. Dry cleaning, laundry. If you want to innovate, you can throw in a shoe laundry, sort of, an added something that you
I
can
think
do.
that is something very new right now.
Absolutely,
Because of the kicks
absolutely.
and all that's coming out. now.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
agree.
again, 3 to 5 lakhs, and you can get started. And it's a very easy process to exit without much loss if it doesn't work out. And then you can try something else. If you really have the money, you can go for something like a small petrol pump, right? Innovate it by having a couple of charging stations as well for EVs, right? You can have a small car wash adjacent. That also works, right? If you have the space. And these are the business. You don't need 30 lakhs of your own. Banks will be eager to lend you that because they know it is going to work. They understand the business. They know it is a predictable business with a high demand.
And then you also don't have to worry about going crazy with the ideas, that crazy website or social media marketing.
Nothing.
or
People
nothing
come to
like
you.
that. Yeah,
People come
yeah.
to you. They see your shop. You are going to get customers.
And this becomes of a referral kind of business as well, right? Because once you do a good service for them, they more tend to recommend you to other people. anyways.
Absolutely. And you don't have to put your time in it. If you have retired family members, they can also, they'll be happy to, in fact, help out there.
Now, when it comes to business, right? A lot of time, what happens is that we're always thinking about in a local market, right? How very nicely you explained, like the lower class, middle class, higher class, right? The one concept that I have at this point of time, but when you start to think big, other people don't want you to, right? Why does that happen at that point of time when you're trying to grow your business? Others will always keep telling you that, what, if you do that, it's not going to work.
So there are many reasons for it. Number one is they are projecting their own fears and insecurities, right? Other reason could be that they don't want you to succeed, right? And this is one thing that I've observed, especially in the middle class. I come from a middle class family myself. Uh, you know, the wealthy, the difference is that they help each other grow even higher. In the middle class, we often try to pull others down, right? So that mindset shift, once you have it, and even if other people are telling you it's not going to work, just ignore it, because data always trumps opinions.
Yeah, agreed. Because many times what happens, again, like you very rightly said, could be their own insecurities and fear. But this is again the people that we know. How about when you talk about a larger scale? Let me talk about the global audiences, right? We're talking about the war is going on, or the AI fluctuations is there. AI job kha jayega, AI will give you trouble, right? The gold is going up and down consistently. How much does financial market and the power of business is affected by that?
So Kabir, all these things you talked about, whether it's AI, whether it is a recession, all these things that happen, they are definitely not isolated by themselves, right? They're always connected. It's part of a bigger, you can call it an economic chess game, right? These are moves by the big players, the big money. Now, it impacts the middle class and others also in their day-to-day stuff. For example, let's say any policy change, right? Central banks, they have the power to either raise interest rates, that means lower spending, or they can print more money, and that's how inflation rises, right? So this is going to affect how you spend your money, how you save your money. There is something called a devaluation as well. This is something that I had read once, where we as a country can actually devalue our currency against the dollar. Now, why would we do that? it makes our exports cheaper for other countries. So that means that people buy more from India because it's cheaper. But at the same time, it makes our imports more expensive, right? So all these decisions that are taken, the policy that goes around it, it impacts everyday life of not just the middle class, but each and everyone. Now, the key here is to understand and kind of sort of predict or adapt to these changes, which the wealthy do and we don't.
Very well said. When you said, usually the decisions of the wealthies, right? Do you think that most of the funds or the market volatility, it's as per the family members, like let's say Rothschild, Ambani's, Adani's, Tata's, are they the one making this decision?
So, as tempting as that sounds, to uh, kind of blame everything on one family or a bunch of families that we feel that are controlling the narrative, it's not that. People think that because it simplifies their worldview, whereas it is actually a little bit different. Um, People or institutions like BlackRock, Vanguard, their power is actually not secretive. It's very structural. Okay, it affects how the global capital flows. Yes, the power is concentrated, still concentrated with a few people, but this is where once you start understanding the undercurrents of how things happen, and once this is why financial literacy is no longer an option, right? It is a requirement because that makes you independent. It gives you autonomy in this structure in which they operate.
So we'll talk about financial literacy a little bit later in the podcast. But if I had to ask you about specifically three individuals who has taken Twitter by the storm, right? I'm talking about Elon Musk, Prime Minister Modi, and Donald Trump. What would you say their role is in the volatility in financial market?
So it's always a tussle, right? Elon Musk wants something, Trump wants something else. In fact, they were together and then they are not together, right? Uh, Ha. But these players, I call them players because they are not really, the game. They're basically moves within the game. What they check is the pulse of what people want. Elon understood that people want to move towards a greener future. He capitalized on it. Mr. Modi also, now people are in India especially, we are very patriotic. We want everything to be made here, right? And people actually buy Indian made now.
Specifically, they're asking right now, why made in India hai kya, make in India hai kya?
So that awareness is there. Now, it's like two sides of the same coin. One, it's good because we don't have to depend on others. Our import, the trade deficit, as they call it, goes down because we don't, our money doesn't go outside the country. But it's also a little bit more expensive for the people here. So that's how it affects. There is a concept called comparative advantage. Okay, it says that there will be always one good that you can manufacture in a country cheaper and more efficiently than other countries, and that is the one that you produce in surplus and you export.
Okay, it's like outsourcing some of the work.
No, I'm saying exporting. Say, let's say India is better at producing steel, for example, as in more efficient, cost effective than other countries.
Okay.
So what we do is we produce it much more for our own consumption as well as for export.
Oh, okay. Understood.
People are going to buy from us because it is going to be cheaper than making it themselves.
Okay.
Now, India is also not comparatively advantaged in other goods. Making them here is more expensive than actually importing them.
Okay.
Right? And the concept says that, this principle rather says that if countries focus on their comparative advantage and trade with each other, the world production and therefore consumption also goes up.
Fair.
But when such policies come in, make in India, and everyone just tries to make everything in their own country, it is much more expensive for the regular people.
Correct.
Right. At the same time, it is the raw material needed for making India products might still be coming from outside. So that kind of comes in the way of the entire initiative.
Fair enough. Okay, understood. So basically, not everything can be made in India.
Not everything can
has
be
to
made
be
in any country.
Any country, yeah. So it has to, अगर बना भी है इंडिया के अंदर तो जो माल है, माल सामान है बाहर से आने ही वाला है.
कुछ ना कुछ तो आएगा. Like for example, if you make mobile phones in India,
correct.
like Micromax did, the rare earths materials that are used in the chips is still China.
China, yeah, exactly. And most of the tech stuff does come from China. You can assemble it here.
Correct.
Manufacturing has to still be done in China in that particular way. That's the reason I think that's most of the tech stuff comes from there. Now, I know that you teach emotional mastery in your course.
Right.
Now, how much does that really work when it comes to there's a damn war going on, right? And there's India-Pakistan is going on, or I don't know what else can be going through in the next coming 10 years. How does this emotional mastery really help when you're working with financial market?
So I use the term emotional mastery because it's easy to understand for regular people. However, emotions cannot be mastered, or rather, you cannot control your emotions effectively. It is humanly impossible. We are emotional creatures, right? So always our decisions are somewhere going to come from here. There are going to be a lot of cognitive biases involved. What I teach my students is leave it to the machines, right? There's something called risk management. People don't, people feel that, okay, I've invested in a stock, let's say Reliance. Now, when COVID hit, Reliance from its high at that time went down to almost, I think, 700, 600 rupees a share, right? Now, usually what people do is they hold on. Reliance hai, upar aayega. Now, luckily, Reliance did bounce back. Many stocks didn't, right? So, what I teach my students is manage your risk, meaning we put a stop loss at a certain point that we scientifically figure out on the chart and then leave it to the machine, which means if the market tanks, you are out at a relatively higher position so that when something like COVID happens again, you can actually buy more shares at the bottom because you preserved your capital.
So you're actually losing money from your profit, not your actual investment.
Absolutely. So stay protected. That way, the emotional component completely goes out. Emotional decision जो भी हो सकता है, leave it to the machine because machines are not emotional.
Okay.
They won't think कि अरे चलो थोड़ा और नीचे जाएगा, वापस bounce हो, कुछ नहीं. The price comes, it will sell. You're out.
No second thoughts. Fair enough. When you're speaking about comes to war, recession, pandemics, right? Is this actually affecting bigger players as well, or that's where they make the most money?
So a little bit controversial. Big players already, unless it's something like a black swan event. Now, what is a black swan event? Black swan event means something that could not have been predicted or known at all, right? Now, it is, very easy to assume that the big players have more access, more resources to figure out what is going to come, okay, than you and me. So they make their moves before us. They have the bandwidth, the resources to figure out. They have got experts on their payroll. So they can easily sense what is going to come and they make their moves before that. So ideally, they are going to always benefit. That's why it's called smart money. Normal people can also replicate the same pattern, right? Simple risk management saves you. You don't need to know when the recession is coming, but if it comes, you are out at a higher position, like I said, so that you can calmly wait and then invest at the lower part of the market. Of course, we can't predict the bottom, but we can be very close to it through our study of the charts and technicals. You come to know कि okay, ये हो गया है गिर के इधर मैं डाल सकता हूँ, and there are different strategies that we use to probably park a little bit of our capital first and then to average it out at the bottom.
Right. Okay.
So we can also benefit similarly to the big players.
Okay. Now, here's a question that I want you to answer to me very honestly. Is stock market recession proof?
Definitely not. But the returns from the stock market can be. And that is up to you. If you protect your capital, it is recession proof for you. Stock market is the first thing that goes down when you hear about recession. Right? So definitely not. It is not recession proof, but your earnings from it can be. In fact, there are ways that you can make money while the market falls.
Okay. How's
Okay.
that?
It's called short selling.
Okay.
There are different ways to do it. Mostly people do it through something called derivatives, that is your futures and options. They are also used to hedge your portfolio. So there are many advanced strategies that us professional investors and traders we use. But more money is made when the market falls.
So that's how you make money while the market is falling.
Exactly.
Okay, that's absolutely wonderful. Let me ask you about something where since we're talking about the market, right? Usually there comes a big hype, right? In between, Bitcoin was at a crazy level, right? Then there was a gold thing. Go ahead and buy the gold. Go ahead and buy the silver. How much does media-driven hype can trap an investor?
So I don't blame the media for it. Media is going to talk about the current story which is trending, right? They want the TRP, they want the advertising. It's a business after all. And of course, they are reporting the news, what is going on. It is the investor who's at fault for going after the hype, right? Media is always going to create hype. Now, there is a saying in the share market that we all have. That is, news always follows our charts. That is for predictable news, predictable as in predictable for the big players. We see the moves happen before the news becomes public. This is true 99% of the time, right? If there's something good coming, the market goes up without any reason that we feel there is no reason. But then a couple of days later, we find out, or that very evening, we find out. So news is always going to reach us later than the move on the charts.
Is it safe to say that news reaches to you till the time everything is ended?
Yes, absolutely true. But there's a way that you can predict those moves without even switching on your TV.
Okay, and what is the way to predict the move before it hits the news?
So the market operates on demand and supply. The big players, even though they know that something good is going to happen, they are not going to invest like us. They are not just going to put in their money. They will invest at a particular point, a particular price. And that is easy to see on the chart, provided you know how to. And there's a science behind it. So trading is absolutely not a gamble. It's a perfected science. You can see कि यहाँ से ऊपर जाने वाला है और वहीं से जाएगा. Of course, it's not 100%. So whenever we go wrong, there is always a risk management involved. कि अगर नहीं गया तो क्या? But yes, that move can be predicted very easily.
If I have to ask you one move that you can talk about right now that can possibly predict that the stock is going to skyrocket now.
So here's the thing. Let me explain this.
I'm gonna take out some secrets from you.
Absolutely.
Make us millions.
So there are different patterns that we observe on a chart, right? For the layperson, the market moves randomly. For us, it works like clockwork. So we know that, okay, here's the point, this is the price, this is the timeline, okay, the exact, or rather, let's say the approximate date around which it is going to hit that price and then skyrocket. And even if the bigger players figure out something good, even before that, they are going to wait for the price to go down till there because they can buy more. They can get a better price. Now, sometimes the very big moves, we don't know that it's going to go up till there, but we know कि okay, यहाँ से ऊपर जाएगा, इधर तक जा सकता है, उतना जाएगा, I don't know that, right? So I tell my students, don't cap your profits, cap your losses. Right? So people say कि अच्छा ये टारगेट पे मुझे सेल करना है तो कैसे करने का? I said don't, let it go. अगर if you put an order for selling over there, it will just sell and then ऊपर का पैसा कौन लेगा? So there's a different way that we capture that entire movement.
Okay. So rather than capping के इतने पे बेचे तो वो नहीं रखो. Stop loss is important.
Yes.
So you have to have a stop loss, and you can change your stop loss as you're growing up.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I've spoken about this earlier. Right?
Earlier,
You
yes.
shift your stop loss. So once your perceived target has been breached, you move your stop loss to your
Okay.
target.
But then
So-
don't keep a target. Okay, I'm gonna, no matter what happens here, and then let's say you're like, okay, I'll remove it at 3 rupees or 4 rupees higher, and next thing you know, it's going 10 or 15 rupees
Yes,
higher. It's like the
exactly.
next thing
That's
you
what
have.
happens most of the time,
Right,
and
right.
that's why I don't cap your profits.
Now, when you said that there's a way for you to find out when a certain stock is going to go up, right? Can this be predicted while our Indian stock market is off and other stock market is being worked on? By checking the global charts, can you predict a Indian stock market where it's gonna go?
To an extent, yes, but I prefer that you look at the chart that you're trading on or you're investing in, right? For example, the crude chart also is dependent on the USD INR chart, or the global currencies. They affect crude as well, but we don't check those charts, right? For example, Reliance and Nifty are somewhat connected, but we don't check Nifty. आज market ऊपर जा रहा है कि नीचे गिर रहा है, it doesn't matter, because Nifty is a combination of an average price of 50 stocks. Not all of them might be going up, right? So if I look at one particular stock, let's say Cipla, and I figure out that it is going to fall, it doesn't matter where Nifty is going, because Nifty doesn't drive Cipla. Cipla and the other stocks drive Nifty. Right? So even if the market is tanking, sometimes I have bought stocks and earned within the day, because I only check the particular stock that I'm going to trade on, and that simplifies everything.
Okay. So then, keep it simple. Don't make it complicated. Because here, what I just asked you, it could make things complicated if you are not a pro trader.
Yes,
It can still be worked on, but then you have to really be into it for a very long time.
I mean, I've seen people, watching, keeping CNBC on,
Correct.
looking at Financial Times, reading a lot of articles on the internet, keeping a lot of charts open. You don't need all of that. Okay, making money is simple. It's very simple in the market.
So, if you keep CNBC on and while you're doing trading, so when they say buy, should you sell?
I wouldn't go with that, but news always follows charts, and CNBC is nothing but news.
Okay.
Right? The other question to ponder is, why are they paying for all the airtime and trying to make you make money?
Correct.
It doesn't make sense. For free?
There's a thought process behind it at that, yeah. Okay.
So I don't know why they do it, but the reason, the scenario doesn't convince me to trust.
Okay. How many students have you trained so far?
So far in the last 5 years, over 1,200.
1,200. What is the different? And let me ask you this first. All of those 1,200 students are successful?
No.
What is the different mindset between the students that has made money, who are being successful, and from the one who have actually quit?
The main difference is in persistence. The students who have made money, they are the ones who don't let go. There are going to be challenges. It is not going to be very easy. Okay, there is a learning curve. I just pulled up and I always show my students that picture of a learning curve which goes like, initially you feel you're getting it, then you feel that I don't know anything, right? Even lower than where you started, right? And then slowly and steadily you go towards being an expert. Most people will give up in that valley. So the only way to be successful in anything, not just the share market, is to be at it.
Now, as being a middle class, since we are talking about making middle class, breaking the barrier and becoming the higher class, what are the chances of they becoming at that level using stock market?
I have a few examples among my students who have done that.
Okay. And what would you say to start small or take big risk?
Definitely not take big risks.
But risk hai to ishq hai.
Nahi, bilkul nahi hai. So in movies, you see one guy beating up 20 people. Are you going to go down right now and do the same, try it out? I don't think so, right? So movies are where movies are, and reality is where reality is. Taking risk is detrimental. You always manage your risk, and that's the key to making money in the market. It's not about how many times you're right. It's not your accuracy. It's how well you manage the times that you are going to lose.
Okay.
That is the difference between those students who actually make money and those who don't.
So what defines you of being successful in stock market is how you handle your lows, not when you're at your highs.
Very true. How you manage your risk. Risk management is the only thing that makes money in the share market, period.
Now, earlier when we were talking about this particular topic, you're very sure that women should be more actively investing. What makes you feel that which quality of their allows them to be a better investors than men?
So women approach investing or trading with patience, prudence, and purpose. Okay, their approach is not about making a lot of money. They don't want to gamble. They want steady returns, right? And stock market being such an emotional roller coaster, their emotional balance is what gives them their edge. That's why women are better suited for the share market than men.
What practical step homemakers can take or a working woman can take while with a very small capital?
So the size of your capital is irrelevant. In the share market, things compound, especially if you're trading. Let's say you're starting with as low as 25,000, okay, or even lower than that, doesn't matter. If you're doing all the things correctly, your capital is going to increase, not decrease. Okay, maybe slowly, maybe rapidly, it doesn't matter. Eventually and mathematically, it is going to touch 50. Now, when you're trading with 50,000, you're trading with double the amount, which means you can buy double the quantity, keeping the rest of the factors the same. So to reach 1 lakh from 50,000, it's going to take you the same amount of time.
Okay.
Now here's where the fun starts. 1 लाख पे पहुंचने के बाद 1 से 2 जाने के लिए भी उतना ही टाइम लगता है, 2 से 4 उतना ही, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. Same amount of time between those intervals.
Okay, but just money doubles up. It's
Money
like compounding
yes.
your thoughts and
Exactly.
the money that you have.
Exactly. Provided they are consistently in profit. What I mean by consistent is not always, but when they are making more than they are losing, right? That's how they move forward. No matter how
Making
slowly.
more than they're losing. So there will be loss no matter what.
Yes. Yes. Even I make losses.
Okay, I thought, when I'm getting into a stock market, every single stock has to be profit.
That is impossible. That is only possible for God. So, so as long as you're making more than you're losing tiny and making 3 times of that when you're right. And sometimes, since you're not capping your profits, you might even make 10 times of what you expected.
Fair enough. And, if I have to ask you, recently, because even in India right now, being population of billions, I think हमारा जो population इतना होने के बाद भी percentage of people in stock market is very less. Do you think it's probably because of the factor of knowledge people have about it? Or is it because they lack education while we're in school?
Somewhere, yes. I mean, I never heard about or studied stock market when I was in school. I don't know about now. But it's a combination of less awareness and certain myths that people have. The biggest one being, ये तो जुआ है, right? ये नहीं करना, ये बुरी चीज है. So that prevents people from trying. Now, the people who do try, they feel that okay, ये तो easy है, मैं YouTube पे 2-4 videos देख के मैं समझ चुका हूँ, अब मैं पैसा लगाऊंगा. And they lose that money and then they never get into it again. Or worst case, they keep on coming back and losing.
Understood.
So the only way to make money in the share market is to understand it, to learn, to take guidance of someone who's actually making money and practice and then get into it with real money. You will most likely make it.
Let me ask you this, हमने पहले भी बात की है इसके बारे में हालांकि, but I think we have not spoken about this during our podcast per se. If I had to ask you that making money and how you said जुआ है, gamble है, but actually है नहीं, right? So when you're disciplined and when you're making so much amount of money, does it take you away from in terms of spirituality if you have felt that way?
Not really. I mean, spirituality doesn't tell you to give up money, right? It teaches us to enjoy money responsibly and with awareness. Share market is no different. It is based on awareness and discipline. The same principles that are in spirituality. Now, uh, money from the share market will always reflect your inner self. Okay, whether it's uh, clarity, patience, restraint, discipline. So in a way, both are really connected and they help each other as well. The more spiritual you are, the more balanced you are, the better are your chances in the share market.
Fair enough. Now, going towards next 10 years, if you're thinking about investing correctly, there has been AI that is out now. Crypto is really taking over. I think India में अभी भी थोड़ा वो पहुंचा नहीं है. But if you talk about UK, US, Dubai, I think these countries have already adapted crypto in a very high form. Like I know in Dubai, a lot of people actually pay you in cryptocurrency as well. What do you think in terms of Indian stock market? When will crypto actually pick up? And is there a way for you to trade in crypto market without actually losing money?
There is no way in any market. There is always going to be risk, and wherever there is risk, there is going to be slight losses. So there is no always making money in anything, in any market. Uh, Apart from that, whatever we learn in order to predict stocks or commodities or currencies, other currencies, the same principles apply to crypto. It's no different. It is the same demand and supply pattern. Everything stays the same. Now, personally, I don't invest in crypto for multitude of reasons. Mostly being that it carries a systemic risk. If the exchange shuts, I can't do anything. There is no one like a SEBI to protect me in that case. So the adoption of crypto in India is also there. There are people I know who trade in crypto, uh, but of course not as much as abroad. However, unless it gets a government backing, it's still a very high risk asset.
But how come it's like that for India only? Because all the world has adapted crypto. How come India is the last one to adapt it?
Anywhere in the world, it's not recognized as an official currency even yet. There's no
You snooze it. It's up
exactly. There's
India
no
is trying to protect you. Is that what you're trying to say?
in a way, yes. The side effect of it is people are being protected, but crypto is based on blockchain, right? There is no way it's anonymous, and wherever there is anonymity, there is no taxation. So if you start a parallel economy with crypto and people start exchanging goods for crypto, there is no way the government can keep track of it to tax the recipient. So that is why government doesn't want it to go mainstream. But in that sense, it is also protecting the people because anything can happen with crypto.
Okay. And if you talk about next 10 years, financial opportunities for traders and investors, what do you think is coming to our Indian market?
So there is no way, no analysis can tell you what is going to happen in 10 years. Okay, we can only see this far. Whether it's technical charts or fundamentals, you can't really predict whatever is going to happen in 10 years. But here's a way the big investors, like the late Mr. Jhunjhunwala, Warren Buffett, his friend Charlie, all these people, they understand how power shifts and evolves. For example, in the 20th century, it was all about oil, right? Whoever had access to oil had power, and money always follows power.
Okay.
Today, we have algos and data. Whoever has access to those is in power. Tomorrow, it might be quantum computing, it could be cryptocurrency, digital assets, could be anything. So, you have to, in essence, keep an eye on where the power is shifting, and that is where you invest your money. If you want to look at, far away into the future, like 10 years.
Okay. Fair enough. So follow the power.
Follow the power.
Follow the power. Okay. What does financial freedom truly means when it comes to, so when you're training your students, what are you telling them? What is financial freedom? Is it like peace of mind? Is it like having control, or is it like contribution?
It is the power to do whatever you feel like, right? I always tell people share market gives you not just financial freedom, that is a given, but it also gives you freedom of time. It gives you freedom of place. You can work from anywhere with an internet connection and a laptop. So you can travel the world if you're into it, and you can make money at the same time, giving very few hours to your profession, right? There is no shortage of money once you hit a certain level, which means you can either not work in your job or your business, or you can automate it. The other flip side, not flip side, but other way you can enjoy is to spend more time with your friends, family, have a really good social life, right? That's what I prefer. I work only 2 hours a day. The rest of the time, I am socializing or I'm learning something new. That's what life is meant to be.
Meant to be. Agreed. Agreed. As we round up this beautiful podcast that we had, if I had to ask you one mantra that you have to give our listeners to encourage them more to be part of stock market, what would you give them?
So, money is not math, it's more of mindset. Start small, stay consistent, and let the clarity compound. You cannot control the market. You have to just take care of your emotions. And money always follows calm conviction.
Beautifully said, man. I truly appreciate your time today. We have taken this podcast into a very different thought process of how world finance works, how the mindset works, how a person can break from being a middle class to a higher class. We have spoken about businesses that they can do. We have spoken about the how stock market can help them as well. We've really covered a lot of structure into this particular podcast. I really appreciate your time, your knowledge, and I hope that you guys have also enjoyed today's podcast. This podcast was more in terms of people who are really looking forward for how the world finance, how the world dominance, pandemic, recession, or any kind of war could really affect how you make money. And especially when we're talking about in terms of India. Stock market is something where it will allow you to make money no matter what happens. Per se, if you have a right education about it, a good mentor to teach you, and you know exactly how you're placing your bets and how you're placing your games. The reason I say, you are placing your bets because of the factor is that it does matter how you're going to enter into it, but not with a mindset of gambling, but in a mindset of proper studies of chart, studies of what's going to happen, demand and supply, and the most importantly, as I repeat, the power of a right mentor in your life. Share this with people who are consistently talking about getting into stock market but always scared. Share this with people who are calling stock market a gamble, or share it with your parents because most likely they're the ones stopping you from it. Why don't you watch this podcast with your friends and family? You can also listen to it on Spotify and Ghana. Until next time.